February 23. 303. The soldiers of Diocletian demolished the principal church of Nicomedia, and committed the sacred volumes to the flames. 1447. Gabriel Condoimero Pope Eugenius IV died. He was elected to the papal throne 1431, afterwards unjustly deposed, and again restored. 1545. Francis de Bourbon, Count Enghien, killed. He was a celebrated general in the service of Francis I, and was killed by accident. 1555. Thomas Wyat beheaded. He took the lead in an unsuccessful insurrection against the bloody Queen Mary. 1589. Andrew Dudith, a Hungarian divine, died. He was employed by Ferdinand II in important affairs of state, wrote on physic, poetry, etc., and was a highly esteemed character. 1603. Andreas Saralpinus, an Italian philosopher and physician, died at Rome. 1619. Bartholomew Ziegenbalg, a celebrated German missionary, died. He was sent to India by the King of Denmark, but meeting with some opposition from the Danish authorities there, he placed himself under the countenance of the British East India Company, published a dictionary of the Malabar language, and was fulfilling the object of his mission with great zeal and success, when he was suddenly interrupted by death at the age of 36. 1679. Thomas Goodwin, a theological writer of the Puritan school, died, aged 80. He was one of the members of the Assembly of Divines at Westminster, and attended Cromwell on his deathbed. 1717. Magnus Steinbock, an illustrious Swede, died at Frederikshavn. He distinguished himself by his valor under Charles XII, and in the absence of the king from Sweden, he managed the affairs of the government with uncommon wisdom and moderation. 1750. A brilliant borealis appeared at Cork, about 7 in the evening. The tide at the same time rose far above its ordinary height. 1766. Stanislaus I, King of Poland and Elector of Saxony, died. He was an author, and a good ruler, though an unfortunate one. 1775. The daily consumption of pulque, the fermented juice of the maguey, in the city of Mexico, according to the custom house record, was 6,000 arrobas 150,000 pounds, and the daily consumption of tobacco for smoking was reckoned at 1250 crowns. The population then exceeded 200,000. 1779. St. Vincent surrendered with considerable stores to the Americans under Clark. British taken, 79. 1780. Action between the British ship Resolution, 74 guns, and French ship La Bravie, 64 guns, which resulted in the capture of the latter. 1792. Joshua Reynolds, the English painter, died in London, aged 69. He rapidly acquired opulence by his profession, and on the institution of the Royal Academy, was elected president. The lectures which he delivered before this society have become a standard work. 1796. Nicholas Stofflet, the celebrated Vendée chief, shot at Angers. At the beginning of the French Revolution he was a private soldier, but became one of the most intrepid and daring chiefs of the Royal Army of La Vendée, and had been in no less than 150 actions, 10 of them pitched battles, and in more than 100 of them he proved victorious. He met his fate with characteristic fortitude. 1796. Bonaparte appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Army of Italy. 1798. Rockland County, New York, erected. 1798. The Pope withdrew from Rome to Siena, having been deprived of his temporal possessions by the French. 1800. Joseph Warton, an English prelate, died. He was also an ingenious poet and critical writer. 1805. British frigate Leander fell in with and captured the Ville de Milan, and her prize the Cleopatra, captured a few days previous. 1814. The blacks under Christophe took by assault Fort Sabourin in Saint Domingo. 1821. The counties of Monroe and Livingston, New York, erected. 1822. Benavidez executed, an outlaw and pirate, who for several years proved the scourge of the southern part of Chile, where he perpetrated the most horrid cruelties upon every age and sex that fell in his way. In 1818 he had been condemned to be shot, and was supposed to have been killed. But although shockingly wounded and left for dead, he recovered and became a fiend incarnate. 1827. Walter Scott disclosed himself publicly for the first time as the Great Unknown, at a dinner of the Edinburgh Theatrical Fund, himself in the chair. 1831. Gertrude Elizabeth Maria, a favorite German vocalist, celebrated the anniversary of her 83rd year at Revel, where Goethe offered her a poetical tribute. 1836. Battle of Fort Alamo in Texas, in which the Mexican army of 4,000, who made the assault, were repulsed. 1840. James Morey died at New York, aged 95. He was the first consul from the United States to Liverpool, to which office he was appointed by Washington, and which he held for nearly half a century. 1847. Battle of Buena Vista, in which the Mexican army, numbering more than 4 to 1 of the Americans, was completely defeated. Many of the American officers were slain. 1848. John Quincy Adams, ex-president of the United States, died in the Capitol at Washington. It may well be questioned whether any statesman in the world was better informed. 1851. Joanna Baillie, the Scottish poetress, died, aged 89. She was born at Bothwell, near the Clyde, and lived in seclusion with her maiden sister. 1854. The steamer from Stonington arrived at New York, having been detained in the Sound by ice during 3 days. 1856. A freshet commenced in the Ohio, which caused great destruction of property, among which were several steamboats.